Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, y'all?
Welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. And Jay Ray, in our lifetime, we've watched thousands of hours of biopics and documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to musicians and artists of our lifetime, Jay Ray, which medium do you prefer? Do you prefer biopics or do you prefer documentaries?
I absolutely, unequivocally prefer documentaries. I like biopics when they are well done, but they're not always well done. So I prefer a documentary. And plus, I want to hear the artists themselves speak. I want to hear people that were close to them speak. And I love seeing like behind the scenes footage. So documentaries. What about for you?
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. People are going to start to say that we share a brain because we pretty much agree. We agree. Like, I enjoy the artistic journey that a biopic can take you on, especially when we're talking about casting choices, because that's always like at the top of everybody's concern is about casting. But yes, there's nothing like a documentary. I love the montages of old photos.
Yes.
I love behind the scenes footage, old footage. And of course, I love the interviews of the people that were there.
Yes.
Because it adds so much texture and layer to the telling of the story. And yeah, that's just it for me. Documentaries are it. And before we get into so we're on this episode, if you haven't figured it out, Jay Ray and I are going to talk about our experience watching the new Luther Never Too Much documentary that came out at the beginning of November, in theaters across the nation.
Finally,
in limited release is going to be in there only for a short while, and it will be on streaming services in 2025. But Luther Vandross is somebody you got to get out of the house and go see in the theater. But before we go talk about that, Jay Ray, is there a group or artist that you would like to see, that you would like to be the subject of a biopic or a documentary?
Biopic wise, I would love to see a biopic of like the early years of Janet Jackson, like up to Control.
Okay.
I feel like that could be a really interesting biopic. Because there's a lot of twists and turns in that story. We got marriages, we got rumors about kids, we got the family dynamic, all of that. So I think if I were going to pick a biopic, I would say Janet Jackson up through Control, like up to Control, so through Dream Street. Subject of a documentary, a documentary I would be really interested in seeing because I think it would be super dynamic is a documentary about Yasin Bey. I feel like he has such a crazy journey, actor on TV, rap star, now just kind of artist, traveling the world sort of thing. I would love to see a documentary about his journey up to this point. I think that would be dope. What about you?
That would be pretty fly. So shout out to Sparky D, who dropped the trailer for her documentary that's going to be coming soon. And I think I've mentioned this before, Jay Ray. Like, I would love to hear LA Star's account of how the industry turned its back on her. Now, LA Star, I guarantee not a whole lot of you would have probably have heard of her unless you were our age and, watched Rap City and Pump It Up and all the things and saw her, her debut. But she was a MC out of the Bronx. She was signed to B-Boy Records back in the day and was featured on the B-Girls Live and Kicking compilation album. She was the first person to diss Salt and Pepper, which was unheard of at the time.
Yeah,
And
what
then
was
she
it? Right, was it
write that
something
rhyme,
Herbie? Write that
write
rhyme,
that rhyme,
Herbie.
Herbie. Yeah. And then she went on to drop her debut album in 1990, along with the influx of other female MCs like Yo Yo, Nikki D, so on and so Moni Love, so on and so forth. And she had a lot of potential. The album is dope, production is dope. She had a lot of potential, but then she just disappeared. She disappeared, and it wasn't until her daughter, Reese Steele, came along in about 2008, 2009, and popped up on the television competition Miss Rap Supreme.
Yeah.
And it was exposed that she was, in fact, LA Star's daughter. And that brought up a kind of another buzz like, well, where is LA Star? And there's lots of different rumors about, what has happened to her over the years. And I just think that would just be a very interesting look on how far, how close you can be to stardom and how far it could take you away. On the other side of that coin, no pun intended, I'm ready for Foxy Brown to break her silence.
Oh, that would be
that's gonna be some. I think there might be some bombshells. I don't know if she's, are people going to be protected or not? It's going to be interesting. That's a real hot potato that I think people would be interested in seeing, especially me.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to see that. Thank you for both of those. Actually, I would love to see LA Star. Shout out to her. If you are watching this, LA Star, definitely reach out to Q Points because we would definitely love to have that conversation. But you're right about Foxy. I never even thought of that. That would be like, what?
Yeah, I think that would be explosive.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, this particular film, I had the opportunity to see this in theaters in Philadelphia, and it was no small feat for Dawn Porter to get this to us to see. Like, it just took time, like, because we had heard about this, I think when we first started Q Points, like, there was this, because it was going to hit Sundance, it was going to do the thing, and we're like, oh my goodness, and people have been buzzing about it since then. Like, we have to see this Luther documentary, but I guess CNN finally picked it up, and now we get the opportunity to see it. But to your point, we definitely want to give her shout outs because this thing is such an important piece of Black music history, just music history in general. And I think folks will learn a lot from it.
Absolutely. So yeah, shout out to Dawn Porter, shout out to Trilogy Films. You can tell it there requires, when you're going to take somebody's life story, it requires some delicacy. It requires some emotional intelligence to approach somebody's story. And especially when we're here in the TMZ era, the gotcha era, of everything is salacious and scandalous, and people, if you give that to them, yes, people will develop an appetite for that. But because someone like Dawn Porter and Trilogy Films is used to doing projects about very thoughtful things like The Power of Dreams, which is about women athletes, specifically Black women athletes, and of course the Lady Bird Diaries. Like, I am so glad that she was able to get a hold of this project because it was handled well.
Yeah.
And I saw it myself. I saw it in theaters like J. Ray. Sat there, and it wasn't packed out. And like, I knew it wasn't.
It should have been.
It should have been, but it wasn't packed out. Maybe because I like a matinee. I like it
Oh,
early.
you are your matinee?
Yeah, I like it early. I like a get in. I don't like a crowded movie theater. I like to be able to sit where I want to sit, but it's better now because seats are assigned, especially now that movie tickets cost an arm and a leg.
Yes.
But just initially, what were your initial thoughts going into the film, going in to see the documentary?
Oh, that's a good question. So going in to see the documentary, I was most I had no expectations for the experience of seeing the documentary. Like I just didn't, I just knew that Luther had been such an omnipresent force in our lives as we were as I was growing up listening to music. Luther had always been a part of that experience. And I went to see it during its special screening that they had here in Philly. So it was October 30th or 30th. No, it was like the day before Halloween. So October 30th. And it was maybe 10 people in the theater, this huge theater. It had 10 people in it. I felt super special being in there, right? In the theater with these folks, because I felt like we were just having like a family experience, even though we were like spread out amongst the crowd. But I was open-minded to learning more about Luther's experience, because Luther is one of those, he's pre this experience where you knew a lot about an artist, right?
Yes.
So there were just things in, now I didn't learn a ton of new things, right? But the new things that I did learn were like, oh wow, I didn't realize that, or I didn't know that, especially the childhood stuff. Like that stuff was super interesting.
Yeah.
So I was open to learning more about this artist that existed during a time pre-social media, and he was very protective of his personal life. So I was just kind of open to figuring out, okay, what made this guy tick? What about for you? Like, what was your thought kind of going into this?
I didn't have any preconceived notions. I was just excited for the fact that the project was completed and that it's here for us to consume. Because to your point, Luther Vandross is one of those people that was not super. There wasn't a whole lot of coverage on him, even in his heyday, which kind of set the scene for artists back then. It was like we only saw them when it was time to perform, so there was a lot of mystique around them. There was a lot of anticipation built up for projects, for performances. And so when we finally got to devour that, it made it even more delicious. It was like, thank God, I saved up my money to go see him. I've, saved up my money to purchase this album. It's finally here. There are no leaks. There's no MP3s floating around on the internet where I can hear it before everybody else. And so we're all enjoying this together, which brings up the fact that you said something very important. There was only a handful of us in that theater, but when I tell you, and we were spread out, but when I tell you we were, we all laughed at the same time about stuff. And singing, like we were trying to, you could tell everybody was trying to remain composed and trying not to overdo it. But when those songs came on, and of course, everybody knows every last lyric, and so you can tell everybody's like, there's a lot of seat grinding. There's a lot of muffled singing because you don't want to. Oh wait, I'm in the movie theater. I'm gonna calm down.
Right.
I think we all kind of had permission.
Yes.
There was like a community agreement, like, this is Luther, y'all. We know these songs. There's gonna be a little bit of singing and some laughing out loud. So I think we all gave each other permission to do that.
Yeah. So two things. I have a question for you, but before the question, so speaking of that idea about singing, there was this particular moment. So Nat Adderley Jr. was Luther's musical director, and Nat was telling these stories. And the funniest thing I thought he said, he was like, well, if Luther was going to do a cover, it was going to be slower and it was going to be like longer, right? So, but there was this moment that they showed, it had to be like 86 era Luther, because he just had that look where they were sitting in the studio at the piano and Luther was just singing next to him while Nat is kind of working through the arrangement.
I think they were doing Superstar.
And it was like they were figuring out all the parts, right? And this sister who was over to my right and up, she said, "Damn, Luther, shit."
Like, all that talent.
All of this talent that was just oozing. Because Nat was also like, yeah, that.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, that synergy that we got to witness is magic. There's a synergy between, like, when people find their tribe and they're there to do something and they're there to do it together and it's meant to be, then you have moments of magic like that. And it was just like they were already in the pocket together. Because I think his other singer was there too. It was the other gentleman.
Oh, yes. You know what? I can't remember his name.
But they were all there and they were just like, yeah. So yes, that was a dope moment. That was a really dope moment. Question. So the question you have for me.
So the question I have for you, I think the thing that became really apparent, and we had heard rumblings of this as Anita Baker went back out on tour, right? We started to re-examine the career of Luther Vandross, right? The fact that Luther, in all of his brilliance, just seemed like he couldn't get out of the black man. This is of the black singer box, which is wild to me to think about, because I see Luther as such a bigger artist, right? So what are your thoughts on that thing that they did spend some time on, the fact that this man really, he wanted to cross over?
Right.
Look, to me, Luther seemed like the perfect crossover artist, but they didn't see him. I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. Why wasn't Luther seen?
So, we spent a lot of time, we've done episodes on being black famous. And it just so happened that we spent time talking about a white artist being black famous, but the same phenomena happens to black artists. You are on the Chitlin circuit, even though the Chitlin circuit has expanded. You remain on that Chitlin circuit. You are a household name in black homes, but for whatever reason, there hasn't been a moment yet where you got exposed to the larger public, which happens to include white people. And so you're right. Like, I figure a lot of those songs, I think nowadays a lot of more people know about Luther Vandross because of those ballads. They know those ballads. They know they've been included in their weddings and major life moments like that. I think the Oprah interviews exposed him to a lot more people also, because Oprah had a major viewership, audience outside of just black people. So, but that pursuit, I can't help but to think it was eluding him. The crossover, it was eluding him partially because of his physical makeup. So, in the very beginning of the documentary, it's mentioned about how you don't get as much attention when you're large and when you're dark skinned. Which automatically I was like, oh, did they trick me? This is a documentary about my life. Wait, did somebody? Oh, I thought this was about Luther Vandross. This isn't about me. Oh, okay. I literally saw my J-Ray. There was a moment where they flashed a picture of him, and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find this picture that I have, and I was like, "That's me. That is literally me." By the time when you see this episode, we're gonna superimpose the picture of that I'm talking about, and you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Sir Daniel was a young Luther Vandross." And that, I think, because the record company, they could sell the hell out of his voice, but the industry was turning more and more visual. There were visual aspects added to this music industry. We are a music video industry at this time. Music videos are super important. And we've talked about when you're a larger person, the music industry, you're going to shoot videos, but you're going to be either animated or you're going to be only shot from the neck up. And, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of movement. But I think because of that, and because of his own battle with his weight and his obsession, and we found out it was an obsession for him, that a lot of those things kept the general public away from him. Well, not the general public, but I mean the crossover public, because they didn't know what to do with him. They couldn't put him shirtless on a tub of butter or on a cover of a magazine. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't sell butter.
They couldn't sell sex.
They sell love. Luther could sell love, but they couldn't sell sex with Luther.
You know what? That is, you are absolutely correct in all of those points. And I think also it's an indictment on how Luther's representation of masculinity doesn't fit into the traditionally masculine. Like, there was a stark contrast between like a Gerald Levert and a Luther Vandross.
Yes.
Gerald was going to get all of that attention.
He was going to grind in your face.
And them women was going, and he was as big as Luther, and they was going to like it. And same with Barry White. And Luther's representation of masculinity presented itself really differently. Now, people will say that there's a lot of reasons for that. What I thought the documentary also did really well is not give us tea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of did. It broached the subject because you couldn't not talk about Luther and his sexuality because of the world we live in. And part of rock and roll is the sex and the drugs. Yeah. We weren't going to get no drugs from Luther. And we weren't getting sex from him either. And then, so of course, the question was going to come up: like, if this man can do these things with his vocals that will have women shivering in their seats, and he could do these vocal gymnastics to have people fall in love or want to make love, why is he alone? And then he wasn't shy about talking about how love kept eluding him, and how that kept eluding him. And oh my God, the breakdown of what any love actually means was heartbreaking.
I will never listen to that song the same way again.
Nope.
And the fact that Marcus Miller said that, he was like, I always tell people, if you want to understand who Luther is, just play Any Love, and that explains it. And that song became such a massive hit, speaks to the experience that so many have, but Luther himself was having that experience. And when his assistant, God bless that assistant, because when he broke down and he said, this man wasn't looking for love. He was looking for any love.
Which brings, why do people still, and we've heard the story countless times about the brilliant actor, singer, rapper that reaches the highest of heights.
Yes.
They get the money that they'll never be able to spend in their lifetime. But that fame is so double-edged, and happiness tends to elude them. Why do people still trying to achieve that? I wonder why people still try to make that the end all be all of being an artist, an artistry. Because they all say it. Oh yeah, I love making the music, I love getting paid, but that fame stuff, y'all can keep the fame. The fame is ridiculous. The fame will kill you.
Yeah. I think we are seeing, it's because of what society does. I think what we do to our celebrities. I've always been really clear, like, the fame is not that interesting to me. I don't need everyone. I'm not interested in everyone knowing who I am. I like to go shopping for my grapes and my apples in my peaceful time and not be worried about all of this stuff, or at least having people understand this is it. Everybody has, I think, a desire to have a job that people respect and adore them for the work that they do.
Right.
And that, I think, is a lot of what it is. It's that when Luther's on that stage, when he's in that studio, when he's dropping these records, and this is for all celebrities, like, it's their job. Like, no, I'm just like working. It just so happens that my job is entertainment and I'm here to do that, right? But what we've done is we've raised entertainers up so that they're not like real people, right? And there is a desire for folks to feel elevated over folks because there is so many folks, right? So I think it's just a natural human desire. And I think what happens time and time again, which is why I'm not interested in it, you find people that get to that level and be like, nah, son, no, I want what you got.
Yeah.
I still want to do what I do because that's what I do and that's how I earn a living. But I would rather have what you have where you could like walk outside.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of it. And I think the other piece to this, though, is Luther had a baseline desire for love. And that is he wrote about it ad nauseum. He helped other people discover it. He gave people language to experience it, but that thing eluded him. And part of that is also, I think, if you're like a regular person and you're trying to date Luther Vandross, like, Luther Vandross was brilliant by every stretch of the imagination. Like, he was going to write you under the table. He was going to produce you under the table. He was going to sing you under the table. He was excellent at what he did. That intimidates people across gender spectrum. It was always going to be hard for Luther because he was going to need someone who was as brilliant as he was. That's a very small number of people.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah. Yep.
You were either he would have had to step down and not down as in it would have had to be a person that wasn't where he was. And unfortunately, he was where he was at.
Right. Yeah, you were either or he was going to expect you to rise up to be where he was. And that's a lot. That would be a lot, especially if you didn't have the head start like he did, because he started as a teenager, singing on Sesame Street. Shout out to our Sesame Street episode. You will hear about us talk about Luther Vandross on our Sesame Street episode, so you should go revisit that. But in closing, I just think, go ahead.
Quick, before we close, I want to ask you this question because I don't want to forget.
Okay.
What was the thing that you learned about that was like, oh, I either didn't remember that or that was surprising?
This is so funny. Really, the thing that blew my mind, J. Ray, was that he designed their costumes.
I did not know that fact.
I did not know that he designed. I thought like most people, he could have a custom-made outfit for him and the crew. I think he would reach out to a Versace or whoever. No, he had in his mind, and this is where you can tell Luther was a fan, obsessed with performers and performance. And you could tell he was a child of Motown because the way the kids at Motown presented themselves was very buttoned up, very, together, and all that influence, especially, he loved the Supremes.
All that glitter, baby. He loved Diana.
All the glitter and sequin. He was like, I want that, but in a male form. So I'm going to have my suits bedazzled. You're going to see me sparkling from the nosebleed seats, and you're going to see all our primary singers. We are going to be looking the same. That's something I do appreciate about Luther is Luther always surrounded himself with uber talented people and made them part of the collective from when he was with Luther, the group Luther, to the to what we saw on stage with him and Lisa Stansfield and Sherry and I believe his name is Tony, all on stage. And he made sure that he wasn't the only one that was dolled up. Everybody had to come correct. And that was a level of excellence that Luther expected from everybody that was going to be on tour. And I thought it was pretty funny that a lot of those things weren't mentioned in the documentary about the tiffs. But I think we saw that his work ethic, I think it answered all of those questions about why some of those failed relationships happen with tour mates.
Oh yeah.
So I think there really wasn't a need to address those things.
Agreed.
But yeah, the costuming and his love for fanfare. Yes. I mean, I knew he loved flair, but him putting the sequence, designing the jackets and whatnot, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what? Especially when you're a big guy, you can't always get stuff off the rack.
Yeah.
And so I imagine if you're a fabulous person or naturally, and you're an entertainer and you want people to have a really great experience when they come see you, you're going to go all out for your appearance.
Yeah.
And so you can do anything but thank him for just giving excellence, for always delivering excellence.
Yeah. For me, it put a exclamation point on the disco era. And I think I tweeted this, that it is our birthright as Black folks to reclaim disco for the brilliance that it was. Because Luther said, that's the era I came from.
Yep.
If Luther Vandross came from that era in all of his brilliance, and we look back and reflect on the music that was created during that era, some of the most innovative, uplifting, loving music came from that time. And I think it definitely put an exclamation point for me on, we need to make sure that we reclaim it. Because the way they weaved it together, and when Nile Rodgers said, nah, let's be clear, Luther's on every Chic release, like, period.
And once you find that out, for those people that didn't know that, you can't not hear him.
You cannot. All of the Sister Sledge stuff, he was like, Luther singing, like, Luther on that. Like, Luther is on if
change
all of that.
All of them. All of that. You're absolutely right. And I love that, the reclamation of disco. And hopefully somebody will see this, some young talented person will see this and bring it back.
Yes. Highly recommend folks watch this documentary. Watch it with your loved ones. I actually kind of regretted that my mom didn't go. I said, Mom, if you want to come and see it with me, but it was like late, you know what I mean? And she was like, I don't know if I want to do all of that. But when it comes on streaming, watch this for the holidays. If you can see it for the holidays, definitely watch it. I feel like it's required viewing for Black folks. Luther Vandross is the soundtrack, is part of the soundtrack of our lives. And I feel like everybody needs to see it.
I agree with that. Absolutely required viewing for Black households. What I would like for individuals also to do when they see this or after they've seen this, I want it to make people more empathetic. I think this documentary has the power to Yeah, it has the power to us to look at people more holistically and to always remember that what you're seeing is not always the reality. People send their best representative a lot. And that person that's always looks driven and, is always happy, that's probably because they're covering up, they're compensating for something. And so I just hope that, we just become a little bit more empathetic to each other after seeing this movie, and that we treasure this music more and more each day. And like you said, just make it a requirement in your Black household, because in this right now in this world, the way things are going, we are going to need to hold on to our artifacts of Blackness, because there might be an erasure coming in some form or fashion. But while it's in theaters and even when it goes to streaming, I think I can safely say that Q Points highly, highly recommends Never Too Much, documentary by Dawn Porter and Trilogy Films. If you have the opportunity, please, please, please go see it. All right?
Yes. For those of you who are checking us out, thank you so much for being here. As we say all the time, if you can see our faces, if you can hear our voices, please hit the subscribe button wherever you are. And if there's a notification bell, hit that too, so that you can get notified about new episodes of Q Points. If you would like to support the show, there are many ways you can do that. You can shoot us a Cash App. You know what I'm saying? We love a good donation. If you want to buy us a coffee, that's cool. You can also shop our store at store.qpoints.com. Please go ahead and do all of the above. We'd really appreciate it. Visit our website at qpoints.com. There you can check out our blog. You can also join our newsletter, and you can also check out other episodes of Q Points. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
And like I always say, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. Peace, y'all.
Peace.